Okay, so in this video, we are going to continue with the next part of that VCS, which is the version control system. Okay, so we are going to continue with that one. And typically, this one, hopefully, this time the audio recording will be better compared to um, compared to the other video. Because I'm really not sure like how these are getting recorded. Because most of the time, what happens is like I say another thing, and the Puppeteer software records in another way the movements and other things. So I have to like figure it out like how it is working and everything else afterwards. So yeah. All right. So now next is that we have to typically know about certain this certain system, which is like we were discussing about VCS, which is version control system, and then we have to now discuss regarding the next one, which is uh, Git, along with one of the specialized, not specialized, but like for special purposes, we utilize one of the Git hosts, which is called Codebug. Okay, so we are going to utilize that. Uh, the reason why I have chosen this one is because they are typically situated in European Union. Plus, what next is that they they allow for like hosting Git, like they allow source code hosting for free for open source projects. So typically, that is a good community overall. I've seen that it is a very good community overall, and they welcome people from all over the place, and they are not looking for typically any kind of profit or anything. They are non-profit, so they are typically very good for for academic work, or for any kind of project which involves either open source or academic stuff. So that is why I have chosen this one. Okay, so now go back to let's say let's go back to the desktop. Okay, go back to the desktop, and we will get Chrome from here. You may have noticed that the sound quality has dropped a bit because during the times the I had this noise cancelling, headphones and everything else, and it was busted. So now I'm just like recording with, just some cheap earphones and other things. In any way, like not that I can do anything apart from that, and also like the capacity of this system is very less. So yes, we were going for food. Hopefully, we'll find this. Okay, so we have two results, three results. So this is the one. Okay, so this one is it. Yeah, this is the one. So typically, if you see that it has, it is a non-profit. Codeberg is maintained by non-profit organization Codeberg EV based in Berlin, Germany. For us supporting the commons, for us supporting the commons comes first. We are more than just Git hosting. Our community is comprised of like-minded developers, artists, academics, hobbyists, and professionals. We celebrate tea culture, openness, and creativity. So that is what I like about this community. And then respect, no tracking, no third party cookies, no profiteering. Everything runs on servers that we control. We will not sell your data hosted in Europe and US from the so this is something which I like of this thing. So typically you have to register one of the accounts and you have to click in here and register the account. It will work too. I have to like wait a bit because maybe my system is very slow. So first thing which you have to do is make your username. I'm going to make as my whatever the my channel name is. Then you have to put in the email address. Okay. Then you have to put in the email address. Uh, it's best to keep the email address as same as the one which you are utilizing for typically your GitHub, unless until you have some different ways of like managing things. Um, Typically, because for me, I work on a lot of different aspects of the things regarding these computers and other sciences. So because this is for just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to stick with the one to which is the same thing which this this typically this video is related to. So I'm typically going to put in that only. Okay. So that is what I'm going to put in, and hopefully I will get some response from this one. Or else I have to change the change the email or something. Anyways, let's continue with this one. Hold on. Let me just pause the video a bit so that you know I can put in my password. So, a confirmation email will be sent to your email address, and afterwards, once you have confirmed your email address, you can now log in typically. So whatever is your username, you could just log in there. Right. So you can just log in there. And you could also like click on this remember this device if you like. You will regularly work on this device, and it is just only maintained by you. Okay. So typically, and if you're sure that nobody like eavesdrop in this device or just do something with this device, then you will just click on remember this device. Otherwise, if you're using some kind of a public computer, then do not do this one. And yeah, again, I'm going to like enter the password. So let me just hide this again. Okay, so there are some certain rules and regulations while you're using this one. Let me just clarify this further. Okay, so when you like talk about, when you talk about utilizing this one, typically it has one a few of the things which you have to be careful about is that first thing, they have changed their terms of use. So typically, the major ones are that you cannot use any large language model generated content in this one. Okay. So whatever activity you put in this one is typically yours and yours only, and you have done it manually without the use of large language models. The second thing is cryptocurrency projects are no longer allowed in these repositories of the code work GitHubs. So these two things you cannot do. Now, typically cryptocurrency projects can be they had like I will go into the details of whatever the changes they have in this one. But cryptocurrency projects are one thing, and another thing is the blockchain project. Okay, so how they have done that and what are the rules and regulations, we have to read further on that one. However, like any kind of, I think if I'm being honest, any kind of cryptocurrency projects which actually do not utilize any computing resources like extensive computing resources, and they are only made for the typical what actually was the cryptocurrency was made for it. That is to ease the transaction and lower the cost of transactions as well as ease the transaction and to have a decentralized way of like reducing the transaction cost to all over the world and as well as having an open ledger. If that philosophy is there, then I think under the category of blockchain project, cryptocurrency, that cryptocurrency project would be in this one as per the idealistic views. Uh, However, I haven't changed the full terms of service in this one, so I have to like read fully as in what they have changed in these things. Okay, so I have to read further in this one. So for now, no cryptocurrency projects are there, no blockchain product, and just to be safe that we are not like they are not allowing any blockchain project as well. So yeah, so for academics, it is still good enough, I suppose. Yeah. Now, to I will just make a one of the demo projects in this one so that you could like understand like how to make a Git repository in this one. So typically, as you can see, this one is just a typical terminal. In this one, we call this REPL. If you remember correctly, it is called what? REPL. Okay, it is called REPL. stands for this stands for read. The second one is evaluate. Sorry, if you can scroll down or this one. Yes, read. The second one is evaluate. The third one is print. And the last one is loop. Okay. So any terminal like this one, any terminal like this one, it is a read, evaluate, print loop. Okay, it's read, evaluate, print loop. That is what we call REPL. Okay. So typically it waits for an input. It waits for an input. Once it gets the input, it reads it, it evaluates it, and then prints whatever the command is in there, and then it loops back to the input again. So uh, it is now in the position of read right now. Uh, and suppose if you say ls, which is for list all the directories, we get this one. So this one is your, this one is your like evaluation happens very fast. After you give the command, evaluation happens very fast, and then it prints it, and then we are back to the loop. So it loops back to the read in this one, and then we are again in the reading position. So it waits for the input and input to read. So that is what it is doing. So what it is doing is like it is waiting for the input. Once it gets the input, the read operation goes in this one, and then it evaluates it, and then it prints it, which is like this one and the previous one. And once it prints it, this printing happens, then it loops back. Loops back to what? It loops back to reading again. So it waits for a read again. So that is how the read, evaluate, print loop works. And this is typically what we call a terminal. This is what we call a terminal. Okay. I don't have any space in here. So this is what we call a terminal, right? This is what we call a terminal. So typically, this is a terminal in here. We call this terminal due to few of the reasons. Okay, few of the reasons we call this a terminal. Okay, let me go back to desktop again. Few of the reasons we call this a terminal is because typically we call this a terminal because in the olden times, what happened was there was a central computer system and there were dumb terminals attached to it. And when the dumb terminals were attached to it, typically the students used to use that, and then they used to log in with their accounts and they used to use that, and they used to shut down those dumb terminals. But the main computer system used to still run in the lab server room and other things, and the other things work independently with that. That is why it is called a terminal. Uh, and later on, terminals were utilized in the airport terminologies as well. So yeah, that is why it is called a terminal. Terminal also like has different context in biology, as in like just like ATL and everything. So it's kind of a whole mixed bag in this one. So if you ever want to take it negative, you can take it negative. Or if you want to like fly high, you can fly high in this one. Or if you want to go to path, you can go to path in this one as well. So yeah, it's all mixed bag in this one. Uh, yeah. Now, now let's go back to what we were doing. Okay. So I will just go to in here. We'll just go to projects in here. I have some projects in here, which okay, let's not go to these projects. Okay, let's not go to these projects. Let's clear this one. Let's go to documents. Documents. Let's go to documents. Okay, let's go to documents. And in here we have some. I've written some books and everything else. Those things are there. So we'll make one. Um, you will make one directory or a folder. We are going to make one directory and a folder. Okay. So for a directory and folder, we'll make like I will write demonstration project. Okay, let's write it. So MKDIR stands for make directory, and then afterwards it is demonstration projects. That is the name of the folder or the directory. You can call it a folder as well as a directory. There is no problem in those things. Okay. So let's go with that one. Uh, CD stands for change directory. Okay. Also, there is one more command which is MV, which is move. Move also work as renaming the directories and the files, so we can do it like this. So I missed an N in this one, so we can put an N in this one. Okay, so all you have to do is like put whatever the name was in before, and then the correct name. Okay. Now, what you will get is you will get a the renamed file in this one. Okay, so rename file or the rename directory. So the directory name was demonstration projects, right? And here we don't have anything. Okay, now let's just clear this one, all these things. The clear command is utilized to clear the terminal's buffer and everything else. Like it will be recorded in the history, but yes, it will clear your terminal in this one. Now, typically, if you talk about, let's say, making a project which is in alignment with a Git host, what you have to do is you have to make a folder. So making a folder is like making a directory. So those are the same thing. So you use mkdir, so that is for making directory. And then what you will use is your whatever the project name is. So it is like test, demo, git, demo git. We're going to make a simple directory called demo git, and then we will go into this directory which is demo git. Okay, we will go with this in here. All right. So now the next thing is we are going to initialize this directory as a Git repository. So we will say as Git init, which is Git initialization, and we will now have this as you will get this as get these messages that the directory has been initialized as a Git repository. So in short, we call it Git repo as well. So repo or repository, we say a repository in a fully technical term, but sometimes in talking about these things, we can just say like it is a Git repo. Okay, so that is which we can say in this one, right? Now next is usually the default branch of your Git is master branch. So we are going to go with that one only, and there are other things like the GitHub uses main and some other SVN and Mercurial use trunk, but we are going to go with the master one because Git is good enough with the master branch in itself for the code work. Okay. Now the next thing what you have to do after initializing of the Git, what we have to do is we have to make our we have to record our email as well as our name. Username you could also record it in there, but it is not necessarily that much required to begin. Okay. However, you could explore the documentations or the developer document, not a developer document, but a documentation and the manual of Git to understand as in what to what to do with making a username and stuff. Okay. So to record to set up the Git repository so that every commit will be recorded with one of the with your email, you have to do this one because it provides a certain kind of legitimacy that it was provided by you. Even if you have multiple emails, even if one of the email is utilized in making the commit, it is it is, it is kind of, gives a kind of a legitimacy that it came from you. Okay. So to make one of the to like record your email in this one, you have to just use what you have to config the repository. So it will be git config, and then since because you are the user of this git command line ECS or version control system, it will be git user and then name. Okay, and then uh, if you're going to you record an email, then it will be git config user dot email. Okay, and then whatever your email is for this git post. Okay, for mine it is Siberian EAMP at the rate of outlook. Okay, and then what you have next is that next what you have is you will also have to give your name. So typically a name aligned with that email. So the name will be typically someone is referring to you. They will not refer to you with your email. They will refer to you with your name. You could utilize username as well. If suppose if the project is very big and like your name is not unique or something like that, you can utilize the username as well. But right now we are just going to utilize the username, not not the yeah. We are just going to utilize the username. Okay. So we are going to utilize username as get config user dot name. Now this is different than username. It is user dot name. When you talk about user dot name, it is typically recording you as a user and your name. So a username will have a different different kind of this value will be different. Typically this value will be different. Okay, so my name could be like India Siberian RAM. So to get more about Git, you can get this one in here. So you can get if you put in Git double hyphen help, you will see that it will give you some of the basic commands in here. And further documentation you can find it from the Git website itself, which provides you the command line tool of this one here. So with clear you can clear up these things. Okay. So now if you want to check like what is your what is the credentials in given in this one, it will go to get config, and then it will be what it will be this. Okay. So when you see this one, it will show you that the code editor is vi, core code editor is vi, repository version there all that. In here, see, you will get this user email as Siberian underscore bam.outlook.in, and you will get this username as Siberian. There is another one, Siberian, not Siberian. There is another username which you put, like you can put it with an underscore and other thing else. So like you could typically do that. This is a username, and you could have a username as in with the alphanumeric values and underscore and everything. You can put that. Okay. So that is you can do. I have not given in this one, so we can explore in here regarding that. If the system allows us, because it's still like my system is not performant to be fair about these things. My system is not performant, it is not very heavyweight, and it does not have a good hardware to begin with. Not very high speed. Okay. So let's see. Get inspected, get config. So GitHub is there, Stack Overflow is there. This is Git SCM. So SCM is source code manager. That is also so Git is yes. Also like yes. Git is also a source code manager as well as version control system. That is They are both there, right? So that is the get SEM as well. So in any case, in here you have user email, all these things are there, and then you have because you get our like this. Version. So in here you will see that version control system have it. These are version control system once again. Yeah, so Geeks for Geeks highlight is the version control system in here. Typically, the book will tell you that it is a SCM. So let's talk about the book. So it is a VCS, it is a VCS this one, right? Branching and everything else is VCS. However, you see that this is given in here. They talk about version control, and so this is a version control system. Right? This is a version control system. Version 1, version 2, version 3, version databases, all these are version control systems. So typically Git has evolved from version control system to source code manager, and SCM has evolved to SCM now. SCM and source code manager. Typically, the terminology they use is like source control management for Udemy, and for this one, see what they use the original Git website. What they yeah, they still use the version control system. The source code management, SCM stands for source code management. So typically, yes, they are still using that terminology as well, the original one, which is the version control system. Right. The original one they are utilizing is the version control system. SCM is like source control management or source code manager, whatever you want to say. It's still like it's easy to use those things. So version control system is still good enough for us. You see, you can get HCM in this one. Yeah, so we are getting something. We are getting. The source code management, we are not getting any different what is. So let's call it MDN. MDN is source control management. Yeah. So it is source control management. So the developer, this site, which is developer.mozilla.org, it will give you most of the best way to get resources regarding what is the terminology and what the terminology stands for in software development. Okay, so SCM is your source control management. Okay, so that is your typically SCM full form is source control management, and VCH is version control system. So version control systems are like SCM, Git, CVS is also there. So CVS is also. They haven't mentioned other mercurial and other stuff. So yeah, there is stuff and there is that. Okay, so yeah, exploration, a bit of exploration we got into, but that is okay. And let's clear this. Okay, so we have now, so you see that we are getting this. We still have forgotten like how to make the username in this one. We will figure it out somewhere along the line, like how to make the username. Okay. Because that is usually not required unless until you are utilizing very modern systems. If you are utilizing a lot of modern systems, then you have to like be reliant on those username and everything else. However, right now we do not need to utilize these things. Okay. So now in here, you see the interface. There is in here. Let me remove this one. Okay. Then you have this. In here you have this new repository, new migration, and new organization. So I'm not going to make a new organization, but I'm going to make a new repository. Okay. So the owner is me in here. Repository name. Get them. You can make the repository private, but only the owner and the organization member will have the right to see it. But we are not going to go through. Short description. Short description would be say what is the short description? Demo. Get repository on domain. How to use. Okay. You can set up a template, but we are not going to utilize any template in this one. You could also like initialize the Git repository from the web interface itself, but again, we are not going to do this because we are doing everything manually, and we can like now get to the some advanced settings in this one. To whether to use SHA1 or SHA256, better to use SHA256. But we will leave everything to the local setup which we have done. Okay, we will leave everything to the local setup which we have done, and we can also like make a repository as a template and other things, and we will discuss those things later on. However, we were just going to go with the default one because our okay our name is demo git, so we will not be git demo, but it will be demo git. Okay, it will be demo git. Of course, we will not make it private, or we will not make private. It's all public in this one. Okay, so they gave a certain instruction on how to do that, these things. So we have already like done this one, and we didn't did this one. We followed another method in this one. We can continue with this one. Then get add me another thing. We can continue with this. Of course, we are not going to follow these commands. We are going to have our own set of commands which we can use and which will work in most of the systems. Okay. So now what we are going to do is we are going to make one file called readme.markdown, which is MD. Okay, so that is there, and then we are going to write something in this one. So in the previous video, I have already included the VI for how to use this one. So we are going to go with that one. If you do not know how to use that one, you can just refer to the previous video. Okay. Why are my answers? We're going to insert mode, and just we are going to write down a demo git project. Okay, this we are going to write, and then when you're going to check git status in this one, we'll see that readme.md is here. Readme.md is here, but it is not tracked. It is untracked in this one. So we will utilize one of the commands for git add, and we are going to utilize this dot in here. So this dot means whatever files are in this directory, which is whatever files are in this directory in this level, it will be added. So this will we are going to utilize this one. Now we are going to set as git status, and we are going to see that no commits here, changes to be committed. So these are now tracked in the git. These are now tracked in the git. The readme file is tracked in the git. Now we are going to add one method in this one. The git commit. Use m for message. and we are going to mention as initialize get of initial commit. We're going to make this as initialize. We're going to make it as initial commit. Right, we are going to make as initial commit. You have done this one. Now, once this is done, what we are going to do is we are going to add the remote. Now, when I talk about remote in this one, do not think of anything crazy. It's just the remote is this. This URI is the remote. Okay, this URI is the remote. We are going to use the SSH one. Okay, we are going to use the SSH one, which is secure, like secure shell one link. Okay, so it uses secure shell link port 22. So we are going to just copy this one. This URI we are going to copy this one, and then what we are going to do is we are going to add this remote. Okay, remote add. We are going to name this remote as origin. Okay, so the remote name we are going to add this. So everything is working fine. We'll find it with this one. We have to remove this SSH. Now this remote URI is added. Now one more thing we have to understand in this one is that if we are, let's say, if we are going to check what are the remotes in this one, so we can utilize this command as get remote hyphen -d, which we are getting the version of this one, which is like we are getting to for push and fetch, we are getting to in this one. Okay. Also, we have, of course, we have added this one. Now there is something settings which we have to do in this. This is the SSH and GPG keys. So we have to add the SSH keys, and GPG keys are associated to verify the commits. Okay, so these two are there. So to make SSH key, make an SSH key, we can make it with some of the documentation is provided in this. Create your own SSH like this. These documentation. The documentations are in this. It provides you the documentation to read. Okay, so this is typically generating a SSH key pair. It is pretty easy in this one. So typically what you're going to use is you can utilize the search keygen command, and this will generate a search key for you. Okay. You can utilize this one. You just copy this and it will just create. Now in here you're generating a public-private key pair in this one. Okay, you're generating a public-private key in this one. So you have to now name the file typically. So you have to name the file. So usually you will not name the file if you are just using one key, but if you are making multiple keys, then you have to enter the file name. Okay. So if you have this one, this is the default one. You're going to change it to something else. I'm going to change it to something else. Okay, let's cancel this. Let's go ahead. So if it is this one, so you're going to change it to something. Okay. I'm going to go and this is something else. We are going to change this to maybe like now you can give a paraphrase, or if you do not want to give any paraphrase, you can continue like this, no paraphrase. I'm not going to give any paraphrase, or I'm going to give a paraphrase. I'm not going to discuss in that. Paraphrase is basically typically some bunch of words which you can give to encrypt everything. Either way, if you do not give it, the entropy of the system will decide by what encryption it will do. Okay. Now let me just stop this one and generate this one for you. Okay. Now coming back to the documentation, the SSH keys have been generated, and we are right to utilize SSH keys and to add the SSH key to codebook. We have some commands and means. So xclip is there, the real copy is there, all these things are there. So if you have a typical file name which you have given, then you have to figure out what is the file name. So typically the file name will be in print. It will be somewhere in here. So it will be in your home folder. And after that, what will be in the home folder? In the home folder, there will be something folder called SSH. And in let me see. Um, okay, yes. So it will be what CD, then the home directory display, and then you will see that there are different type of keys in here. PUB stands for the public one. So these are the private keys, and this one is the public key. Again, this is the public key, and this one is the private key. So you have to typically copy the public key in this. Okay, you have to copy the public key in this. There's something written in here. Let me just erase it. Right. So again, you have to consider the public key only in this one. So let's see if you have xclip in this one. If you have xclip, then there is not a problem. Okay, let's paste the clipboard, and in here you will change the file name to whatever the file name you have given. I've given as a Siberian BAM. So apparently we have the xclip in it. Once the xclip is there, go back to in here, and you'll click on add SSH. Once you have pasted this one, this is like Siberian multiverse. Yes, this tells me what is from which system it comes in. This you will just add this field. Okay, so this key has been added, and there is no recent activity. It will ask you to verify. So you click on the verify one. Okay. So now in here, what you have to do, you can generate the signature using this one, this command. So typically, this is the token in here, and from this you can generate you can generate your typically your signature in this. However, we are going to cover this before, like this token stuff. We will going to cover this before because it will be too much in one video. Typically, it will be just too much in one video. I've just talked around like 51 minutes or something. So yeah, I've already have talked a lot about this one. We are not going to discuss more in this one. Okay, so now next thing is here. Yeah. Another thing which you have to understand is like how to add SSH keys to your kit for that time period only. Okay. So for that we need some another reference. Keys for current get underscore get base. Okay, so this is Stack Overflow. It is giving one of the good results in this one. Let's see if there is something in here or not. I think there is something. These ones are old information. Let's get to SSH agent. Yes, we need an SSH agent for this one. Okay, so we need an SSH agent for this one. Let's see if it is adding for the SSH agent. Uh, so this, yeah, so they are utilizing the SSH agent. Okay, so we will just start the SSH agent in this one. Okay, we're going to start SSH agent in this one. So this is the eval, and then it will be inverted comma, and then dollar sign, as well as SSH agent. It will be running in the background. So we got an agent PID. So this is your process ID, and process ID we got as 290. We got this process ID as 2902. Right. We got this one. And now what we have to do is like we have to now add that particular SSH key in this one. So when we are going to add this SSH key in this one, we are going to typically utilize the same address, like this address we are going to utilize in this. Okay. So for that, what we are going to do, we are going to do SSH add, and then what we are going to do is post whatever the file is in here, SSH, and then what we are going to do is this typical file name we are going to use. Okay, so ID, so NEAT dot D, right. So this is the path we are going to utilize. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I think we have done something error in this one. Let's see. Warning, unprotected private key. Okay, so again, we have done one of the errors in this one is that we have utilized the public key. So the private key will be ignored. So we have to utilize the private key because we have already published the public key in our gate host. So in the gate host, we have already published in this one. See that we have done that. Yes. In the settings, we have done that before. Settings. Yes. So, Yeah, in SSH and GPG keys, we have done that. We have added the public key. So we do not have to add the public key in this one. We have to add the private keys in this one. So the private key, which I may have forgotten to tell you, that when we talk about the private keys are without any extension to begin with. When we are talking about public keys, it is an extension with the POG, and which is the public extension, and the private keys are without any public extension. So again, without the public extension, this is the file. We have to utilize it without the extension. Now we will utilize the SSH add in this one, and then we are getting identity added, which is like ID Siberian RAM, Siberian multiverse, and right. So all these things are done. We have done one of the errors, and from the errors we can learn that we cannot add your public keys as your SSH agent to the SSH agent as the identity. Okay. We are going to clear this one with the clear command. Okay, we are going to clear this one as a clear command, and yeah, we are now in here. Now, when we talk about, as we have talked about to take out the remote, so you will see that what is the remote in this. Right, so we are going to go back to our yeah, previous command, previous folder. If you are seeing like how I'm moving towards, these older commands which I have typed in the previous terminal, that is, that is typically I can do is with the up arrow key and the down arrow. So if you press in the up arrow key, you will get the previous command which you have typed in the terminal. So typically that is there. Okay, now let's see what else. Documents in our home directory. Okay. So the documents in our home directory here, and in here we have one of the folder name was what? Let's see. This one was the project, demonstration project, and in here we had demo. So now if you see as get remote and we see the version, we will get these get. Typically we haven't closed our terminal, so whatever we have added to the Git agent, whichever key we have added to the Git agent is still working since we have not closed our terminal. Once you close the terminal, that agent will also it will lose its identity. But because we have started the eval function in this one, that is why it will still retain until unless and until I reboot the system and other things. If I do other things. Okay. So and if you want to see like how many commits are there, so we can utilize git log in this. Okay. We can utilize git log in this one. So the git log is given in here like Siberian RAM, and then there is the email address is given in this one, and also the date in which it was committed. If you want to see what was done, what was recorded in this commit, then you can utilize this command, git log, and then you can utilize this one. So if you say that it has recorded something, which is your readme file, right? And this line was added in the green file. Okay. These things were in there. So you just now clear these things, clearing the buffer and everything else. So typically you're getting a more clear state in this one. Now what happens is like if you want to like push this code, typically it's a code for a documentation, and you want to put this file these file changes to the git, what we'll do is by using git and we'll use the git push command. We can also mention the remote variable, which is origin in this one, and also the branch name, which was set up as master, and we're going to apply this. So it will ask that authenticity of the git host, which is like this IP and the fingerprint they have given, And are you sure you want to continue connecting? So yes, yes, you will connect with this one. If you are like paranoidly kind of like checking everything else, then you can just check the key whether the key matches or not. Okay. So warning permanently added codebug.org to the list of known hosts. It could not be from the remote repository. Please make sure you have the correct access right. Okay. So we don't have the access right. Okay. That's so this usually happens because if the remote is not configured properly, or you have improper keys. So if we have improper keys, let's see if we have improper keys. We have this one is running, and then what we have to add this one is running. Let's try this again. Okay, so now it is done. So we have the keys and everything else is proper. Maybe we have missed something here and there, and that is why it is not working. Maybe something we have missed something, but everything is recorded in this video, so we can back check what has happened in this. Otherwise, everything is good. Okay. Let's refresh this one. You see that there is no reset activity in here, and now you see that there is an activity in this. Okay. Okay. And now when we see this one, this repository, when we see this one, when we refresh this one, and we are going to see like yes, this is the initial commit, and this is the new line. This is the other so this file has been added. So typically this is how we will use Git, VCS version control systems, or the source code management. Right. Okay, so we have recorded for so long. How much we have recorded? 1 hour, 4 minutes. That is a long enough for recording. I think this will be enough for now. Uh, I'm going to upload another video in this one. Hopefully this will help you because in this I have demonstrated that how to actually search for the information as well without the help of using any large language models or AI. Right. So that is what I also told you. Not to be reliant on large language models to begin with. They are there to expedite to make things faster, but sometimes you have to do things manually to actually learn.